Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Guess what's happening? Biden and Bernie forces are clashing during the convention meeting. And the subtitle is Disgusting, Disturbing, and Unacceptable, says Nina Turner, Sanders' former campaign co-chair. Unacceptable. We're going to come back to that part. Brent Welder, you know Brent Welder, friend of the show, made a very good run for Congress. He's a lawyer, represents workers, great guy. And he says, today, as a Bernie Sanders nominee on the DNC Rules Committee, I propose an anti-corruption amendment to ban corporate PAC money to the DNC and to ban corporate lobbyists from serving on the DNC. The Biden camp recruited a corporate lobbyist on the Rules Committee to speak against it. Then I am deeply disturbed the DNC Rules Committee is tabling discussion on a proposal to reject corporate PAC and banning corporate lobbyists from serving on the DNC. The time to take dark money and interests out of the DNC is now. I voted against tabling this measure, says Jessica Ramos. So at a virtual gathering of a key committee for the DNC, Bernie Sanders' allied members said Joe Biden appointees called them children and made other rude comments. The spat began when Brent Welder, a Sanders appointee on the Convention Rules Committee, proposed a resolution to change the party charter to refuse all corporate PAC dollars and limit corporate lobbyists from serving on the DNC for several years. A Biden appointee called for it to be tabled, which some Sanders appointees said caught them off guard. Tabling until when? Asked Welder. Generally, until someone makes a successful motion to take it off the table, replied former Representative Barney Frank, the co-chair of the meeting. After the committee expires, if no one has moved to take it off the table successfully, then it dies with the committee. Wow, that doesn't make any sense at all, said Welder. We've now voted to put the proposal back on the table, and we're voting on the amendment. I'm voting yes to ban corporate PAC money and ban corporate lobbyists, says Jessica Ramos. The proposal was voted down. 45 yeses, 105 noes, and 8 abstentions. The DNC allowed for little discussion and shut down the Zoom link shortly thereafter. Worth noting, the first motion to table the proposal was previously scripted. Many Biden nominees, this is Brent Welder, many Biden nominees abstained, but 105 of them are now on record opposing this anti-corruption amendment. I believe every Bernie Sanders nominee supported it, thanks to all the real progressives for having my back and fighting against corruption. So a little bit more to the story. You're acting like children. You're going to lose anyway, so get over it, a committee member said. The argument served as a reminder of the tensions that are still simmering below the surface between moderates and progressives as the party seeks a united front against President Donald Trump. It was not only disturbing but disrespectful, said Nina Turner, Sanders' former campaign co-chair who served on the committee. Disgusting, disturbing, unacceptable, there's that word again, and it's no way to restore the faith of the people who already suspect the Democratic Party is unfair. No, that is no way. Here's what Pat, the independent Black Lives Matter, it's, Pat the burner. He used to be Peter Douche. He says 105 Biden nominees to the DNC Rules Committee voted no on an anti-corruption amendment banning the DNC from taking corporate PAC money. So when you hear them talk about reforming the party, know that they are full of it. What is it? It is shit. Breaking, says Ryan Knight, the DNC committee just voted down a measure to reject corporate money and ban corporate lobbyists from serving on the DNC. The DNC has no desire to make any systemic changes. They keep showing us with every vote that they want to remain a party that works for the oligarchy. Brent Welder, DNC delegate for Bernie Sanders, says, I think it's ironic that my anti-corruption amendment today was the thing that exposed the corruption at the heart of the DNC. Kind of ironic. Big money and corporate interests have a stranglehold on our government and on both our parties. Today is just obvious, symbolic example of that. So let's bring on Brent Welder. Brent Welder is here. We have him today, a friend of the show. He is an attorney for workers and a true progressive who ran for Congress in 2018 in Kansas as a corporate-free candidate, and he was endorsed by the Justice Democrats. He is an advisor. He was an advisor for Bernie Sanders and is currently a DNC Rules Committee member for Sanders. Brent, welcome back to the show. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, I love it. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for having me on. Let me say thank you so much for your support of my campaign a couple years ago. We did something that nobody has ever seen before in Kansas and came really, really close to winning. So I really appreciate that.
No problem. I think I even did a fundraiser for you, didn't I?
You did. Yes, that was amazing. Thank you so much. That was really great.
No problem. So that was my pleasure, by the way. Tell us about your amendment on the DNC Rules Committee and tell us why. Just tell us what happened and tell us what the amendment was supposed to do and what happened.
Absolutely. And I'll even start a little bit further back. So 4 years ago, I was on, Bernie had nominated me to the DNC Platform Committee, and I wrote an amendment to get money completely out of politics. And the first thing the establishment did was put up a corporate lobbyist to speak against my amendment then. I thought it was an accident or just sort of hilarious, or maybe they just literally couldn't find somebody that wasn't a corporate lobbyist. But I certainly didn't think it was like some kind of strategy. But literally this time, I made the same kind of amendment at the Rules Committee, and they did the exact same thing again. In fact, the corporate lobbyist, the whole point of his argument, he was saying that he was a corporate lobbyist. So I'm telling you, they're not only really corrupt, they're frankly stupid, because they think a compelling argument is, oh, well, look at this guy. He's a corporate lobbyist, and he just really seems like a nice guy. I mean, it's unbelievable. The realization that was their planned strategy to speak against us.
Can you explain? Now you are an insider, so you know this stuff. So could you tell our audience about the special interests that are involved in the DNC, like the lobbyists, the vendors, the people who make their living off the party?
Right. Well, so there's all kinds of positions with the DNC. Or DNC everybody sees chairs. There's hundreds of members from around the country that are on the DNC. The committee members, I guess they're called, and a lot of them are somewhat elected in various ways. Every state has their own way of doing it. There's also 75 that they call at-large members that are supposed to be elected, but every single time the chairman puts in his or her 75 closest, friends, cronies, or lobbyists onto the committee. And even though they're a smaller percentage and they're not a majority, what they then do is they take these 75 people and they stack all the subcommittees so that a majority of these people are making all the rules. They're, weighing in on what the party stands for and everything. And so, I have no idea what percentage of the DNC members are actually technically corporate lobbyists, maybe used to be corporate lobbyists, maybe will be in the future. Maybe they're not a registered lobbyist. Maybe they're just a corporate hack or a corporate advocate, right? But what I'm telling you is that they are everywhere. They are everywhere. Apparently, they couldn't even find somebody that wasn't a corporate lobbyist to speak against my anti-corruption amendment.
Wait, so, that's kind of, I don't know. I always think I'm over being stunned by the corruption inside the Democratic Party, but this is a little. So you're telling me that they couldn't even find someone who wasn't a corporate lobbyist to speak against this. So that this committee is so riddled with corporate hacks and bought and paid for people who are actually the mouthpieces of corporations. They're so riddled with it they couldn't even find someone who wasn't that to speak against your anti-corruption bill.
Well, and and I'd say that somewhat, joking, but what other possible reason could they have to have the worst possible person you could have? Like, hey, we're not beholden to corporate interests. Here's a corporate lobbyist to tell you that. How insane is that? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it is insane. It is insane. And I'm really glad that you're here to elucidate this. Is that the word? Is that a word? I don't even know if that's a word.
If it is, it's a lot smarter than my vocabulary.
Okay, but I think that's great because you are real progressive. You fight for real workers. That's your life's work, and you're successful and you're on the inside trying to change things as a real progressive, and you're getting overwhelmingly trounced by the corporate wall of right. That's what's. I mean, what was the vote on that again? What was it? 105 to what?
Yeah, it was to 45, I believe.
Yeah. 105.
Well, and and it doesn't stop there. And I think you kind of talked about this earlier, and we can get into this and more extensively if you'd like. But not only did they put up a corporate lobbyist, but then they had that corporate lobbyist try to pull a backhanded tactic to try to sink the amendment without them having to actually go on the record and make the vote.
Right.
So they have a corrupt person speaking against the amendment, and then they use corrupt tactics. This is done in front of America, and then they're going to the voters and asking for the public trust in the party. Unbelievable. You've said a couple times that I'm a Democratic Party insider. I certainly don't consider myself that. And I think if it weren't for Bernie Sanders, I certainly would never have been within sniffing distance of these committees. So.
Right. No, I mean, you have an inside look as far as that you're on these committees. That's what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You're certainly not welcomed by the by the corporate Democrats. The people who are running the party are not fans of yours. That's
that's my guess.
Okay. So now, not only did you have these unbelievably corrupt corporate committees packed with corporate lobbyists, and they're doing this corruption right out in the open, these corrupt tactics, but it's also being co-chaired by people who are corrupt. Barney Frank is the co-chair of the DNC Rules Committee. Isn't he a director of a New York bank? How is that allowed?
It's allowed. It's apparently encouraged. I mean, do you think he would have been the chair if he didn't have that bank position? And I'm not even joking about that.
Okay. So this is kind of right. Again, I'm gobsmacked. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm slack-jawed. I could think of some more words. Like this
well,
is.
I mean, the thing is, it's not. You know how you hear people say, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah,
that's what it is. We'd see it as a bug, but they see it as a feature. They think it's a great thing, probably.
So it would be one thing if these votes were close. If it was like 75 to 74 or 80 to 70, or these votes are like they just voted. The platform committee just voted against Medicare for all. Like 140 to 30. Like, it's not even close. Like, for instance, in the Democratic Party, depending on which poll you look at, 85 to 90% of registered Democrats are for Medicare for all. But the vote on the platform committee is the exact opposite of that. 85% of the platform committee is against Medicare for all. So this party is not an actual party, is my point. It's actually just like a functionary set up by rapacious oligarchs to fuck over people and screw everyone, including progressives. So it's not really a party because it doesn't represent the people who are its members. It's not really. The corruption is like manifest, like you're saying, then they're doing it right. Well, Chris Hedges has been saying for years that they're so corrupt, they're lying and cheating and stealing right out in the open now. And so that's how bad it's gotten. So my question to you is, what the hell are you doing in this party?
Right. And this brings up a really, really good point that is really important for me to discuss, clarify. Hey, I mean, I had a private hour-long phone conversation with you while I was running for Congress, and you were asking me the exact same thing, like, why the hell are you in this party, right? And here's the thing, Jimmy. I consider the party to be the people, right? I make a difference between the party and the party leadership because I have had the opportunity over the years. I mean, I used to be a field organizer on other presidential campaigns. I certainly campaigned myself and met hundreds, if not thousands, of Democrats all the time. And what I find among the people is that our party at that level is filled with lots of amazing, really good, really, really progressive people that believe in so many of the same things that you fight for every day, Jimmy, that I fight for, and that the party leadership is the polar opposite. And that's one reason I keep bringing up these amendments when I have the opportunity and trying to make changes. My goal is to root out the corruption among the leadership that is not representative of the party as a whole at all.
So
that's I think the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's behind that goal.
Mm-hmm.
like I said, if it was 75 to 74, if it was even 80 to 70, these are overwhelming vote. There doesn't seem to be any light at the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel, and the train is going full speed. So we're heading for a crash. Right now, they're getting ready to kick 27 million people out of their houses while also not giving them health care, while also not giving them a UBI or extending their unemployment or anything. And that's coming from the top of the party. And there's no one inside the party in Congress who will even push back against this a little. Bernie Sanders will not call out Chuck Schumer. He will not call out Nancy Pelosi. In fact, Bernie Sanders voted for the biggest upward transfer of wealth in the history of humankind. And then he lied about what he did. So 96 to nothing. When do you start realizing this is a failed strategy, Brett? I mean, I love you and I love your work, and I think it's great that you're exposing their corruption. But this is a fool's errand. You knew what the result of this thing was going to be before you went there. It's nuts what's going on, and you know the only way this doesn't make any sense. What is the success rate? Zero. They were going backwards. Hillary Clinton offered us 50 and under over for Medicare for all. Joe Biden won't even give us 55. We're going backwards. So if you hate Trump and you hate right wingers and fascism, we're going to get a worse one in 4 years. It's not going away. Joe Biden and Barack Obama made it possible for Donald Trump to send goons into Portland and arrest them and throw them into rented vans. Barack Obama signed the Section 1021 of the NDAA, and he knew what he was doing. The ACLU knew what he was doing. I knew what he was doing at the time. So did Glenn Greenwald and everybody else. And here we are, and nobody's talking about it. This party is not a party. The people want it to be a party, but it's not. This is an organization set up by rapacious oligarchs to screw you. So what the Democratic Party is they are the ambulance. They are the car in front of the ambulance. They won't get out of the fucking way because everybody knows we want Medicare for all and a UBI and debt relief and mortgage relief, and they won't goddamn do it. They're the ones stopping it. Nancy Pelosi was the one who stopped the UBI. Nancy Pelosi was the one who wanted to means test every goddamn thing they gave to working people as she funneled $5 trillion upwards to her husband. That's what's going on in this party. This is not a political party as much as you want it to be. So what is your strategy going forward?
Well, and we haven't even started talking about superdelegates, which, I mean, talk about it's literally just not just stealing democracy. It's unbelievable. I spoke a lot about that in yesterday's meeting as well. You brought up Rashida Tlaib. I'm a big fan. I actually just donated to her a couple of days ago. She's in a really, really tight race. I actually encourage everybody to go and support her. Phone bank, donate however they can. She is as far as I can tell, she is a really strong progressive, really bold, and the establishment is coming after her so hardcore. You know what happened? Oh, I thought the establishment doesn't go after incumbents. Now all of a sudden they are. You know who else they're going after? Ilhan Omar.
Brett, of course they are. So why are you in this fucking party who wants to get rid of? They do not want you. You are never getting a hold of power in this party ever. Do you think you're going to?
No, listen, I completely agree with you, Jimmy, that the leadership of this party would love it if I would go away and never come back again, right? But here's the difference, is that I really do. I am and maybe I'm idealistic. I think that the party is ultimately the people. What is a country? The country is not who the president is at the time. A country is made up of the people. And who is a party? The party is not who the leadership is at the time. The party is the people, right? And I know, well, I know you're shaking your head.
That's not correct. The people have no influence. So there was a Princeton study done, and I'm sure you're aware of it, that proved beyond a fucking doubt that we do not live in a democracy, Brent. We live in a rapacious oligarchy, that the people who are members of the parties, their will and desires are not reflected back in policy one bit. The minimum, as Chomsky says, the minimum that an elected representative is supposed to do is represent the interests of the people that they asked to vote for them. That's the minimum of what they're supposed to do in a democracy, and they're not doing that. And so rinse, repeat, do the same thing over and over while 27 million people get kicked out, and the nominee for the party vows to fucking veto the solution to our problems. You're going to go vote for that guy?
No, I mean, we're in agreement here, right? The leadership of our party is completely out of whack. They're completely insane. make the wrong decisions. They're worshiping the almighty dollar instead of doing the least bit to stand up for regular people. What I want is to empower the people who consider themselves, to empower the people, period, and to accept the help of the people that are good people that believe in progressive values. Even if they consider themselves to, if they're registered Democrat, that's great. I want them to help me in the mission. And I think, honestly, that the people agree with you. The people, I think even the Democrats, the Democratic voters and activists for the most part, realize that there is way too much corruption. Now, should they be doing a hell of a lot more to kick the bums out? Absolutely they can, or they should be. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's
how you kick
there will be no quick.
You know how you kick the bums out, Brent? You don't vote for them. That's how you kick the bums out. You stop fucking voting for them. And, God damn it. We took over the Democrats, the party, Nancy Pelosi, and took over the House. And what did they do? They completely passed Trump's complete legislative agenda. They gave him $132 extra billion to go bomb people as they pretend he's a Putin puppet and a traitor to our country, which is a nice skirt to hide behind while you're screwing everybody in the country. Oh, look over there at Russia. And what are you doing for the people? Nothing. They're doing nothing. And I just want to play this for you because this is the problem. Here's Lawrence O'Donnell, and he's going to explain it to us.
If you want to pull the party, the major party that is closest to the way you're thinking, to what you're thinking, you must show them that you're capable of not voting for them. If you don't show them you're capable of not voting for them, they don't have to listen to you. I promise you that. I worked within the Democratic Party. I didn't listen or have to listen to anything on the left while I was working in the Democratic Party because the left had nowhere to go.
So when you pledge your vote, like AOC and every other member of the squad and Bernie Sanders pledges your vote to the party, which is what you're doing, you realize that you're neutering yourself and you're guaranteeing that there won't be progressive change happening inside the party, right?
Well, you certainly are supporting a corrupt leadership, it sounds like, yes.
Okay. Well, Brent, I'm not trying to, you are a great guy. And I love you. I think we need more guys like you around.
I love you back, buddy.
And I understand that people like Rashid Tlaib and AOC and Bernie are put in tough positions. But that's why they took the job, to be in tough positions. And when they won't stand up to their corrupt leadership, that makes them part of the corruption. You got AOC already pledged her vote to Biden in April. And then she complains that Joe Biden hasn't called her. Why in the fuck would Joe Biden call you, AOC? He already has your vote and endorsement. You are a party dupe on purpose. So we're not getting anywhere. This takeover of the Democratic Party is a pipe dream. It's not happening. Nick Braun is starting a third one, and we're going to have a convention on August 30th or 31st, right after the other two, and I would invite you to come join us because you're the kind of guy we need. You're smart, you're ambitious, you're bright, you're progressive, and you're uncorruptible. So, Brent, you're a great guy. Thanks for coming on. Anything else you'd like to say about your experience?
I mean, I just want people to. I pledged a long time ago that I'm never again going to vote for someone that I, don't believe in. So I'm never going to do the whole, they're, lesser of two evils or whatever else. I encourage people to do that. I'm continuing the fight. I hope people will go on Twitter and follow me at Brent Welder, Brent with an N, Welder like the job, because I'm actually going to be posting the list of the people that voted against the anti-corruption amendment.
Yes, that's great. Very useful. That's very helpful. And it'll be very helpful is just to see the kind of people that populate those kind of committees.
Yeah, it really will. Well, hey, Jimmy, thank you so much for everything that you do, all the work you put in, everything that your incredible staff there does. I think you and I have certainly a hell of a lot more in common than we have differences, and just keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Hey everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.